go process this and update all of my notes. There might be 150 files organized in different ways. And I'm like, update whatever needs updating. 30 seconds later, it's like, great, I updated these 7 areas, a mistake that I made from earlier, information about the person who was talking. And I have been doing this with every single meeting.
Put in the prompt, generated the landing page, and then there's a little button that said, here's the code. And then I gave that code to a developer who made everything active.
General tip is if you pay, they won't use your data for anything. But if you're a free user, then it's like, cool, this is going to go into our training model.
You can edit based on the text. So right next to the video, there's a transcript of all the words that we're saying. I can highlight the text, hit delete, and it'll just skip that section. What kind of water did you get?
I have an eternal supply of berry flavored fizzy water, La Croix, or whatever you call it.
Oh, is that how you pronounce that? I'm always like, you want a LaCroix? I'm just kidding.
LaCroix, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, so we are here again. It's near the beginning of Q1. We have some new tooling. We have some new capabilities. We tried out the last quarter. We learned some things, and not only were we able to get through our plans and review our results, but also at the beginning of 2026, it seems like we've reached an inflection point where a lot of things are becoming mainstream that used to be a little bit niche. And so, I think it might be a great idea to talk about some of the tooling that we're finding useful in our productivity, in our accountability, and in our goal setting.
Absolutely. Like what worked last quarter? What will we continue to use next quarter? Any tools stand out to you?
So one of the first things is just realizing that, AI is giving me a lot of output. I use either Claude or ChatGPT or something like that in a web browser. And that's all well and good in a web browser, but I kind of need a lot of those things as files to edit myself and work with. I actually need the work product. So I've been using a pretty popular program called Obsidian, and the website is obsidian.md, and it's a file browser and document browser for Markdown files. You can open up a folder in your documents folder and it'll show all the subfolders and all the files in there. And it just allows you to use Markdown files, which is it's a little bit of a mix between plain text, and you can put special characters in there to do text formatting. If you want something to be bold, you can put little asterisks around it. And it's very simple. You can catch on really quickly, but it's pretty powerful. And I found that if you ever have a long chat with AI, there's a little copy icon at the bottom. If you were ever to copy and paste that, it would be in Markdown. The bold, the header, the line in almost like shorthand. And once you see it, you can tell what it's doing. It's keeping track of a lot of Markdown files and a lot of subfolders for individual projects. I've been using Obsidian in order to do that. That's the first one.
Well, hang on before you move on. Before this, I have not heard the term Markdown file. You just explained what it is. It's kind of, you said a step above a regular text file, but in what context do you use it, and why do I need that?
Yeah, I guess that is a good question. I think it's just the simplest way to get formatted text, like bold and italic and, big headline, medium headline, small headline, etc. The fastest way to get formatted text or bullet points and stuff like that without writing any sort of code or writing any sort of HTML. It's just little marks. I think I can pull one up. Let me find something real quick. Okay, this is perfect. So this is what it looks like. I think you can see my browser. So This is a website called Markdown Live Preview. All you do is write things like this. You use special marks that indicate different markings. Hash mark means a really big heading. 2 hash marks means a slightly smaller one, et cetera, et cetera. And it supports things like lists, which will end up becoming bullet points, or ordered items with numbers, which will become numbered, or even some special syntax, which no one really remembers, to embed images. So it's close to plain text, but it also ends up becoming kind of rendered and looking like HTML, kind of rich things, including tables and things like that. So
is the Markdown file something that a layperson like me will use? Or is it just for coders?
It's not for coders. I think it's pretty useful for almost anyone who takes digital notes. That's a good question. Why should anyone care about Markdown?
Well, yeah, sell me on it. I want to use it.
It's not hard. It works in a lot of different places. So for example, if you store all your notes in Google Docs, then it's Google might not support the types of things that you want, and it might only exist in the cloud. If you put everything in Microsoft Word because you don't like Google Cloud, Sure, you might have the files on your local computer, but you can't do a whole lot with them. They're like some arcane format that no one understands. Like you can't just open the file and like read what's in there. You have to use Microsoft Word or something compatible. And so like basically storing a bunch of files, and especially like if you want to link one file to another file, like that becomes very difficult to do if all of your files are either in the cloud or they're in some sort of like proprietary format like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And so people were just like, let's just keep it simple. Let's just do text, man. Text with like a little bit of special markings to indicate if something's bold or if something is a link or if something is like requires this other thing. And people came out with a number of basic document editors in order to navigate that stuff and organize your own files. It's like, I don't want to pay for Evernote. I just want to keep files on my computer. So, Markdown is probably what those would be written in. And then if you get tired of one program, you're like, you don't like Obsidian, or you can just switch to another one because they're just plain files on your computer. Like no one owns it.
It's like WordPad, but upgraded, kind of.
Yeah, there you go. That is the much shorter, much more concise version of it. Yeah.
I think I got it. I like the part where I don't have to pay for Evernote. The whole vibe changed. If you're not on a paid plan, they basically just, it's super hard. You can't even get to your notes without like navigating through, like Xing out all of the boxes that are trying to sell you. You can't do unlimited notes anymore. It used to be unlimited notes forever, and now it's like, well, I have to start deleting notes in order to write new notes. UX Pilot was the web design app that you introduced me to, and it just makes building a website super easy for anyone who can use a chat to create any website that has any functionality. The way that it worked was I put in the prompt, it generated the landing page, and then there's a little button that said, here's the code. And then I gave that code to a developer who turned the web page on. And all I had to do was buy a web page domain name. It kept the cost so incredibly low because of that. And what I learned about AI and how far it's come in terms of web development is now basically every app offers this. The way that I used it was to build the landing page for my digital product. I used it in conjunction with ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT to help me prepare a prompt to put in to UX Pilot. And then I put the prompt in and then developed it and refined it from there. And then it generates an image, which is what the website looks like, each of the sections. The heading is this, the subheading is that, the images are here, the color scheme is this way, the font looks like this. And I could just say generally, like, I want a luxury feel, I want this certain brand vibe, and this is who I'm marketing towards. I want it to have a very high-end feel and appeal to high net worth purchasers. And it comes up with its own like scheme. Okay. It just developed the entire website. So from there, I could accept it or make little edits within it. But what was cool was that I already had all the content in terms of the copy and words that I wanted to explain my product. In the prompt was pages long. Okay. It wasn't just like make a landing page. It had all of the content that was going to go into the page already. And it also had attachments that I'd created in Canva with my color scheme and what I wanted the copy to say. It just was very empowering because it was like, wow, I can make a gazillion web pages right now. And then as I was working with the web designer, we often did screen share, and he was showing me how he was doing the development side of things. And for his side, we finished that landing page very quickly. It was a matter of days, probably hours for him. And so fast, in fact, that we moved on to the second project very quickly before the end of that weekend. And that project was developed from scratch because it did not exist before. I didn't know how to put that into UX Pilot. And so he had me download all kinds of programs to my computer to make everything go, just things I'd never even heard of, Superbase and, all these different Netlify, whatever. We're screen sharing. Basically, he was using chat to write the code. So I said, for example, on the landing page, behind the hero section, I want a video behind it. And so he's like, okay. And then he literally goes to a chat that's next to the page and is like, add a video. And he's like, okay, click update, click run. And then there's a video behind it. And I'm like, wait, that was it? Like, that's how websites are developed these days? Like anyone can be a web designer if they're willing to use chat. So UX Pilot was definitely the introduction to that. The opportunities are endless now.
Okay. Yeah, I heard so many things I want to like click on. So I love the fact that you went into this with a clear vision and you did kind of like the groundwork to prepare your own vision and write all the copy and come up with the language and understand who your target audience was, understand really what you wanted to put out there. And so you were able to give nice targeted direction to UX Pilot. And that probably meant that it actually probably did a great job, like just from Jump Street. And then you can get in there and iterate on it and make some edits. You got ChatGPT to help you with the big prompt. You were probably able to talk to ChatGPT and give it the general sense without worrying about being overly organized or checking all the boxes. And then ChatGPT was able to turn that into like, okay, like let's just create a full spec or a full like kind of product brief that you were able to put into UX Pilot. Having the copy already written, having the color scheme already figured out in Canva, because Canva is a much better interface for exploring different ideas and visual styles, was like helpful in nudging it towards creating something quality. You were having the developer screen share into your computer so that all the stuff was happening on your computer. Was that what was going on?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's choice. So yeah, you probably have a bunch of developer tools and the same stuff that I have running on my computer in order to build this stuff. And that is really how code is made right now. I have a similar window, like several of them on my machine. Like I could write code, but why? When I can just ask AI, like, hey, make these edits. So it's wild.
Yeah, I had no idea. You just go in, because I said, can you make it a white background and actually change the font to be slightly darker gray? And then he just goes in and types white. And you make like what I said exactly, types it into the chat, and then the code updates, and he's like, okay, copy and paste this little bit and, paste it in here, click run. What?
Yep.
So that was wild. Before UX Pilot and before this experience, I knew nothing about web pages and how to build them. It was simply hand money over to a developer or programmer, and then they do that part. And then if you need something done, you ask in that way, can you make this bold? Can you add a question mark here? Whatever. But now seeing the back end of it, this particular app simplified things so much. Right before you showed me this app, I hired a developer to work on a landing page for me. And we were going through those iterations. And what he would send me was a Figma link. And we'd have to go in and do a Loom video. And like now it's like all this jargon that I'm learning where like, I didn't know what Figma and Loom and all these things were before. And Figma is very overwhelming if you are not familiar with it, because like when you zoom out, it's like a gazillion pages and they all go in this direction, that direction, this huge Tetris board of pages. I'm such a perfectionist. I ended up saying, just give me the Figma. I'll do it. Like I'll make all these corrections rather than making the comments in the Figma to do the change. And that's why I ended up having those Canva files, is because I was like, I know what I want the look to be. I don't know how to use Figma, but I know how to use Canva because it's easy. And so I just went in and made like a really long document, and then I put little backgrounds in and yes, I mean, it's crazy because in hindsight, it's basically like trying to do graphic design in a Word document. Like using Canva to build a web page is not what you should be doing. So it was just amazing to me that ultimately there was a user-friendly app that made things very simple without me having to hire someone out to do it. And I basically had ChatGPT walk me through it. You click a button and it was done. It was amazing.
Yeah, that sounds really powerful. And also, like you said, empowering, like just very empowering. Like you can do it now. What's next? Right? Got the business imagination going. The next thing that has been very useful in Q1 of this new year has been using Claude, which I use instead of ChatGPT, for lack of a better word, coach me into some of these goals and help coach me through the goal setting process and through the goal definition and refinement process. And so the good thing is now I'm so used to using these things and collaborating with AI. Like I don't necessarily talk to AI and ask it for the answer. I like to just dump a bunch of thoughts in there and then say, help me organize this and let's get into a conversation and help me ask the questions that I need to, refine this into something that's valuable and pointed.
Okay.
And so it actually really does become a dialogue. And I think it's helping me become a better collaborator. And I don't even have to type anymore. I just learned a shortcut on my computer in order to enable dictation. So I'm just talking the whole time. And even on my phone, like there's a little microphone icon and I'm like, blah, 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 blah. And I'll just talk for 5-10 minutes, have like paragraphs of text in no particular order, just stream of consciousness. That has been very, very helpful in order to reduce the friction. I also found that I'm not an extrovert, but I'm an extroverted thinker. So I like to put things out there. That's also why I like whiteboards. I like to kind of blast things out there. And then once they're out there, I like to move them around. So this has been great for my workflow. So I got a broad sense of what I wanted to focus on in Q1. And so I just started with that. This is what I want to get to. These are some issues that I encountered in Q4. Things like having a bunch of product ideas and not validating them, jumping too early into the build process, getting too committed to what I actually built because it's my baby now and I put in a bunch of time into it, kind of building in secret and not bringing in other people and validating. And so I recognized that this was not the way. And I decided that I wanted to spend Q1 in building up a good practice for product validation and the disciplines of product management that reduce product risk. So if you're going to invest a bunch of time and effort into committing to a product or launching a business or something like that, part of the process is trying to validate the riskiest assumptions as soon as possible and as cheaply as possible before you actually plunge in and before you commit a bunch of resources. And so I would always get excited and skip that. Starting to chat with AI, it was able to draft a goal based on what I told it. And I love that whenever it drafts something, that draft, reading that draft and witnessing that draft brings up a reaction in me. And it's so useful because AI does not get irritated when you give it negative feedback. And so I was able to look at what it produced and say, no, I meant more like this. No, I meant a little bit less like this, and just give it as many rounds of feedback as it wanted. And it was like, okay, I'll incorporate that and update my things. It only took, half an hour or 45 minutes, but it really clarified my thinking. So I had a nice, concise goal that I feel really good about going into Q1.
I've never used Claude before. How is it different than ChatGPT?
The big three, let's say Claude from Anthropic, ChatGPT from OpenAI, and then Gemini from Google. They are all investing just all the billions of dollars to make theirs smart in slightly different ways. So Claude is wonderful for coding and a lot of intelligent analysis of some sorts. OpenAI is wonderful at, from what I heard, it's got better writing skills and kind of like human voice skills. So it can write more realistically and things like that. And also math and some other things that it excels in. Plus it can generate images, which Claude doesn't really do. So that's kind of cool. Gemini is great in some other ways. Like you can just feed it like huge chunks of data. Like just don't even try to be brief. Just throw all the files at it. And it's like, yep, I got that. And some other things that it's really good at. It's really good at images as well. So I mostly just stick to Claude. I'm not super sophisticated, and that's the one I pay for. General tip is like, if you care about privacy, pay for your account, because if you pay, they won't use your data for anything. But if you're a free user, then it's like, cool, this is going to go into our training model. Like that's why it's free. But it's just a personal preference thing. They're all amazing.
That's helpful. Thanks. I've been taking a course on AI, and I got sold this course because the video ad was like, are you saying you use AI but only using ChatGPT and Canva like a preschooler or something like that? And I was like, dang, burn, like
targeted.
Personal call out. If you use their training app, then they'll train you on 30 different AIs, and it's a month-long program, and every day you go through these playgrounds and learn how to use each one. So I've been introduced now to Apollo and Midjourney and Jasper and just like all these really awesome AIs that I have not used before, because it seems like every time I turn around, especially say I log into Facebook and the news feed, it gives you whatever it thinks you should be looking at. So it's constantly showing me these new latest AI product that's like, for your law firm, AI for writing demand letters as the plaintiff's side, AI for gifts, wills, and trusts, AI to draft a trust for you. We have AI to, find clients for your estate planning firm. We have clients literally every time I open Facebook, or that's what's getting marketed to me, is some new take. The vibe is very .com boom, me. And
Yeah.
it's like my product that I made, in Q4 was an AI powered digital product, right? And so I'm like, and I ask myself that every day that I worked on that project was, how is this going to be different than any other AI? Why would anyone come to this rather than go to ChatGPT? You remember when .com boom was happening? I mean, not during, but afterwards, and the analysis was there, not like hindsight analysis where everyone's like, why do I need to go to dogfood.com to buy my dog food?
Yeah.
That's how I feel about AI right now. I think there's going to be a value in actual knowledge and retention and being able to answer a question without being like, hang on, when's the last time you were in a conversation with someone where they didn't try and fact check whatever is going on in the conversation? It's so bothersome to me. It's just like, oh, really? Is that the year that that person was vice president? Well, hang on. And I'm like, can you just trust this conversation, Anyway.
Yeah.
Hella got
Yeah,
off
I think that
there.
raises a good point about like there's going to be a premium on actual experience, actual knowledge and wisdom on things, actual personal judgment, actual personal takes, not the almost generic take of asking AI leading questions and having it affirm you. Like, oh, you're absolutely right. You are absolutely right. And then in the other person's phone, it's like, you are absolutely right. It's like, you two timing. Yeah, whatever.
Either that or we're going to get replaced by the robots, because the more apps that we're using, and like you said, all this data going into it, the smarter that the systems get. And I was using another app for last quarter as I was working on the legal product that I ended up cutting after week 3 or whatever. But there's an AI called Vikk.ai, which basically could replace paralegals. I mean, I won't go so far as to say as it can replace lawyers, because I'm a lawyer and I don't want to admit that this app could totally replace me. But it's like you just ask it a legal question and then it'll give you the answer, and you're like, well, where'd you find that answer? And I need the code and I need the citation and this and that. And then it gives you all the case law and all the backing and all that. But also it comes with all the disclaimers of, we're not a lawyer, we're not this, we're not that. So you can't trust anything we say, but here's the answer. And so at the end of it, you do have to go and do your own legal research.
Yeah.
But if you're just like trying to get the ball rolling and have it draft a letter for you that's like, hey, these are my demands before I sue you, that app is great. It's great.
Yeah.
I use it
Vic?
all the time.
Really? Okay.
All the time.
Nice. That's so funny. It's like, these are sorts of tools. I also don't know if you can do that as a non-lawyer. Like, this is not a tool I've ever reached for. Like, wait a minute. Do I even have permission as a human, like, to have demands? I got to get back in touch with my personal sovereignty over here. Like,
I just think about how we used to do it, because you would go into Google and then find samples, right? Or ask Google, and then it would give you 10 pages of articles, and then you read all the articles and kind of cobble together,
Yeah.
You're
This
like
paragraph, this one, this footer, and yeah.
Yeah. And then it's like, do I need to do this? Can I file in this court? What's the maximum here? And then you're just kind of like going to all these different resources and pulling it together. Whereas now you just go into some sort of chat app, because this Vikk.ai, it's a chat app. And you go in and you just present your problem.
I think it's also fascinating, like when you were describing the ads that follow you around on Facebook, because they know who you are, they know what kind of work you do, but also like you probably got cookies from visiting these sorts of sites in your research recently, and so they're like, she is primed to be a customer of new AI tools, and now I'm wondering what ads they show me. Yeah, I'm also cookied. I suspect that they know my race, because I will like log into my bank and I'm like, are they showing black people on the homepage for everyone? I would like open it up in incognito and it would be like some generic text. And I'm like, what are the other ethnicities seeing right now? I'm not seeing any other races, man. I'm just seeing like a wonderfully happy black family or mixed family or something like that. I'm like, I have not seen a white person on my bank's website for years, man. And so I was like, this is not like a rotation kind of. Yeah. I got to call out one of my white friends and be like, yo, can you go to Wells Fargo real quick? What's the world looking like for you?
I ask John all the time, because he and I fall into so many different demographic categories that I'm just like, wait, you haven't seen this? Like, you're not getting all this breastfeeding content just coming into your live stream. Wait, like, are you kidding me? I mean,
Wait,
you
you
know,
don't follow these
yeah,
4 breastfeeding influencers? Like, no, not,
it's all
won't admit
breastfeeding and like
that.
NBA. Like my,
Yeah, the algorithms got you pegged, man.
but I asked ChatGPT, what do you know about me? And it was terrifying. And it was spot on with everything except for like exactly what kind of work I do, which is makes sense because I'm all over the place. But I think
Mhm.
that that was a very crazy thing. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that part. Do you want to do any other,
Yeah, let's do
you
it.
want to do one?
Go for it. No, no, go ahead.
Why don't you talk about Riverside
I
or
don't know. You've been the one using it. I just put my credit card in and send you the link. The link, yeah, that's been I've never edited in it. I've never done anything. So
okay.
I'm so glad that you took the lead on that one because I was like, ooh, I am not. I think you have a certain like dutifulness or conscientiousness or something about you where you will finish stuff. And I mean, yes, you are a lawyer. Like you will finish stuff. You will care about the details. You will like design it. You will stay with it until it matches your vision. You're like, no, no, get out of here. Like I'm going to sit here and I'm going to design this whole page and like write this whole copy and stuff. And to me, that's very difficult for me to actually stay with it. I'm like, let's just, I'm very hand wavy with things. Just get it done. I'll add details later. Oh my God. Just let's not make it a whole thing. So I'm so glad that you took on the editing.
Thank you. Thanks. Because I don't totally see myself like that. And obviously, there have been on and off. Like the entire
Okay.
month of January was just nothing.
Hmm.
But what I will say about the Riverside app is that it offers features that really do simplify the editing. And if I compare it to what I was doing last year, it's just leaps and bounds ahead of the game. I mean, it speeds up the process really fast. So last year, I was using Clipchamp, which is a free program that comes with a PC. And I would put in all the video clips that I want. First of all, you're watching the entire content multiple times. So let's say we recorded 2 hours of content to make a 30-minute podcast. You're watching 2 hours of content and usually like at 2x speed or something just to get through it, just to get the perfect clips. And then you're physically going in and hitting your space bar when it gets to the starting point of the clip and hitting the space bar at the ending point and then using like the scissors tool and then taking that little thing and then moving it and making it line up on the audio so that it's not like exactly on, but it's like layered just a little bit. It's insane. It takes forever. In Riverside, there's a feature where rather than editing using the clips on a stream, this is from a person who is not a video editor. Okay, this is why it sounds like this coming out of my mouth. But you can edit based on the text. So right next to the video, there's a transcript of all the words that we're saying. And just like in that last sentence that I said, all the words that we're saying, I can highlight words that we're saying, the text, hit delete, and it'll just skip that section. So I don't have to cut
Really?
the film. I just cut the script. It's amazing.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
I should like have you do a screen share of you actually going through this process. I'm like,
Yeah.
ooh, that looks like a lot of tools. I've never done this before in my life. Good luck with that. And I just leave. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I did pay for Adobe.
Here?
What is it?
Premiere, maybe?
Premiere. It was Adobe Premiere. That's it. I paid for a year subscription with it because they sold me on having that feature, the script feature. But I could never figure it out. It's very complicated for me. I ended up using it to make one video. I think you pay a premium if you're going to use that whole suite of features because you're a professional, you should do that. But if you're someone like me and it's just like, all right, this is going to generate the short clips for me. This is going to generate all the captions for me. What I really appreciate is if there are any technical difficulties. So like if on your side or on my side we have technical difficulties, it doesn't even matter. It still uploads. I love that. It's not like all choppy.
Yeah, I love that too. I think I remember our first one, we just had a Google Meet and all the technical issues, not all of them. We did discover new and novel technical issues in subsequent
All on my
calls, but
final wave.
no. Like but because it wasn't recorded on our individual computers and then sent up and then joined, it was like just kind of streamed and then kind of rendered in one way. Then if something happened, then there was no backup. There was no recovery. Riverside came really highly recommended. And yeah, now I'm interested. Now I want to try it.
You can edit this one if you want.
Baby steps. And I can help if you want to ride shotgun.
Jasper is the business.
Oh no.
Jasper will save so much time that ChatGPT makes you repeat the same thing over and over. Because I
Yeah.
can't tell you how many times I'm telling ChatGPT, like, I need for it to sound luxury. I need for it to be very clean, straightforward, precise. I need for the language to be like my brand voice. And then it'll come back, like, let's say the next day, and then ChatGPT, I'll ask it another question, and then it sounds like a clown, just like a clown jumping out of a clown car with
Yeah.
like big
Yeah.
shoes on and talking. And I'm like, why the fuck are you talking like this? But in Jasper AI, you go in and you set the brand voice, and that's your brand voice. And everything that comes out of it after that is in that exact voice. So it's like leaps and bounds. Anyway.
So yeah, you're getting one per day on this. Like, is it 30 days, 30 different tools, or is it like at a different cadence?
You can get a year subscription. You can get a 7-day subscription, but I just bought 4 weeks to see if I could do it. So I'll do, before I go to sleep tonight, I'll just do another course. They're short.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So the last tool that I've been using, and I've been using it practically all day, every single day for work, is a different form of Claude. There's Claude in the web browser, and it looks just like ChatGPT. But then for some of the technical people, there's also Claude in the terminal, where you can kind of jump around your computer and run little commands. You don't really use the mouse at all, but you can type things in. And Claude has something called Claude Code, but you can use it for more than just code. It's a typing interface that's not through a web browser. And so what I've been doing is I hooked that up to my personal knowledge base at work. And so all that is a folder in my documents. And inside of it, I store all of my notes. That's what it is at a high level. But this is a brand new job. I've been there for exactly a month today. And so
The
they were just hitting me. Oh, thank you. They were just hitting me with so much stuff. It was like sipping from a fire hose, and they were dialing me into strategic stuff and giving me the history of the company. And I'm meeting all these new people. So much context that I'm like, this would be important if I was retaining any of it, but not now.
Right.
And I'm like, I want to pay attention and build relationships, not like typing as fast as I can. So thankfully, the company I work for is all in on AI meeting recordings. And so that's wonderful because I use kind of AI transcription. I've got my little like Applaud note pen. It's integrated with my computer. So whenever there's a meeting, it's like, would you like to start recording? And afterwards, it can either give me a full transcription or summaries at various levels of detail and specificity. It'll extract action items. So what I've started doing is when it generates all of these summaries, they'll be long if we're in a long meeting. I'll copy that and it will copy it instead of Microsoft Word or in Google Docs, it'll copy it in Markdown because that's like what all these AI tools, like if they're trying to get text and you ever click copy, it's going to be a Markdown. I'll save it to a file somewhere on my computer. And then I have Claude Code. Like there's a special way that once it's on my computer and Claude Code is on my computer, I say, hey, Claude Code, go process this and update all of my notes. Whatever needs updating, update it. There might be 100 files. There might be 150 files. One of them and like kind of organized in different ways. And I'm like, update whatever needs updating, bro. Go ahead. And I'll just sit there. 30 seconds later, it's like, great, I updated these 7 areas. I updated your action plan, your Q1 strategy, your deliverables, the stuff your boss assigned you, a mistake that I made from earlier, and all sorts of things like information about the person who was talking. And I have been doing this with every single meeting that I've been a part of since I joined has had a transcript and kind of like takeaways. And then I've processed the notes and it's like updated several points in the notes. And so what that allows me to do, since it's been keeping like kind of perfect track, near perfect track, good enough track, then at a certain point, I just get to think with it. And I'm like, hey, what do you think we should do about this upcoming meeting? Like, just draft me something about this upcoming meeting. What questions should I be keeping in mind? And it's like scanning recent files, scanning strategy notes, looking up information about Bob in the other department, cross-referencing XYZ. And then it just prepares it. And it's like, cool, here's a new document with kind of like a brief of what you should have in mind for this meeting. And I'm like, great, let me start the meeting. And I'm like, hey, everyone, here's what we're going to be talking about. It is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's helped me be very relaxed. I get to be very present and not like worried about how I have things in a bunch of different places because no matter where they are, I just say, process it, put it in the right place. And that has been a game changer. I love it so much. I am now going to do that with my personal notes where I have years of backlog. I'm going to set up a similar setup and start processing a lot of my thoughts, ideas, like project ideas and cleaning that up because I have a lot of good ideas. And then I feel like I have organization debt because where the hell have all my ideas gone? Like they're just in some text file on my computer somewhere. I know I painstakingly wrote them down, but are they useful? Nah, they're just like scattered. And so I've been able to actually focus on my job and show up prepared and do a lot better work because I've been able to keep this stuff and stay accountable. So I didn't like lose track of, oh yeah, I'll totally get that to you next Thursday. I was able to kind of keep track of all that. So I am beyond excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited hearing you talk about it because I'm thinking about how different the job market has been since I left corporate America and how it would be to have these tools in the workplace. That's insane because it just changes how you participate. I mean, what's coming to mind for me is how useful this would be in terms of succession planning. So for an organization, what you're saying is you've created an entire encyclopedia of knowledge that's regularly updated in a very structured way. It's awesome because you could just turn on the note taker app in all meetings happening in a company and then have it like regularly updating. It can create a handbook. This is how the company runs. This is how these positions run. And so then when you have a handoff of a company or a sale of a company, then the new team can come in and just take over like, oh yeah, this entire structure has already been organized. And now we can just think going forward. It's insane. I mean, I can't believe that that product exists and is able to be used like that. That's amazing.
I was fortunate enough to watch a YouTube video of someone that used it in this way. She's not technical, or at least she's semi-technical, but she's not like a coder or anything. She runs a business. She's a product manager and strategist. And she's like, this is how I organize my life now. And I'm not technical and it's perfectly fine. It's still just chat. And at a certain point, if you don't want to chat, you can just talk to it also. So I kind of took that, ran with it. And that just happened to be kind of the day before I started this new gig.
I love it. Yeah. And then just talking to it is so different. I mean, when you said that, the note taker, Applaud, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the note taker is Claude with a P. Yeah.
Okay, that is so different. When I was in law school, there were note takers, physical people who sit in class and write, transcribe the class, or they'll have notes. And so if you want to buy notes, or if you need someone to go to class but you missed class, or some people who have a disability or something, they need someone to take notes for them, or their arm is broken or whatever, there would be a physical note taker. So this new technology has changed the game in that too. What I want to know is, can you help me do that with my personal life?
Yes.
Because
follow up. I smell a follow-up video. Let's do it.
Oh my gosh, please. Because what you're saying about the thoughts that get lost and you have all these great ideas. I mean, I don't know how that would work logistically. I would love to see it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay. And if you, as one last thing, if you log into UX Pilot, you will see a new page. Build me a homepage for the Accountabilibuddies homepage. We have a YouTube channel about productivity and goal setting. You can see about how you like the design. I just figured I'd run that in the background while we're doing something.
I can't believe that. That's so amazing. You can just make a web page in the background while you're shooting a podcast recording.
Along.
Awesome. All right then.
This has been great.
It has. I learned a lot.
Till next time.